Palace getting a draw, 27% possession they had throughout the evening. Patrick Vieira's team, and as you can see, 45 touches in the box for Liverpool compared to 12 of Palace, and 24 shots but only 4 on target. So it will be seen as 2 points dropped. Let's hear from Liverpool's captain of the night, James Milner.
James, another drawn game in the end. How did you see it?
Yeah, disappointing. Obviously, we always want to win our games, especially at home. I thought we started pretty well and then, lost away a bit in the middle. They've obviously got quality. They're always going to cause you problems on the break, which we could have defended better. And we had chances, really, that we didn't take.
You started the game so well, didn't you? So much pace, so much intensity. Could you believe at half-time that you had nothing to show for it?
That's football, that's the Premier League. It's always going to be tough. You're coming up against organised teams with quality. Teams will try hurt you on the break as well. They've got a lot of, they're well organised, but they've got a lot of very good individuals as well who are unpredictable, obviously, and caught us on the break. It's disappointing, but ultimately the main thing is that at least we're creating those chances. I think if you're not creating anything, that's obviously a bigger problem. We're creating them, we need to take them. But it's not the ideal start to the season, but we need to keep playing. The way we started and finished the game, really. I think obviously the reaction going down to 10 man was very, very good. The crowd helped us out as well, and obviously Lucio scored an incredible goal.
Let's touch on the red card for Nunez, if we may. As senior players, do you feel you can have a responsibility now, perhaps to help him to understand the gravity of what went on out there?
Yeah, well, I didn't see the incident. Obviously, he's going to be disappointed with that, and it's down to us to get around him and rally, and obviously, I'm sure he'll learn from it. But, I think the reaction was the most important thing. The team reacted very, very well, and the ground reacted very well, as they always do. They got right behind us, and, we could have nicked a winner. It wasn't to be, but, we move on.
The incident almost seemed to galvanise everyone after that point.
Yeah, and that's what good teams do. They get together with disappointments and you stick together. We've got a great team spirit at the club, and you don't have to say too much about the fans there. They're obviously incredible and always get behind us, especially when things are tough. And they did that, and we rallied. It was disappointing not to get the winner, but I think the reaction was incredible from the boys, 10 men, and kept pushing. And like I said, it's not the ideal start, but you see that the readiness for the season there. It's obviously a long season. It's not the start we would want, but you see the fight there, and we've had a week of tough things that's gone on, and preparation hasn't been ideal. So I think it's disappointing, but you see the fighting spirit was there, and no one can deny that. We fought to the end.
Well, James Milner says the red card galvanised Liverpool. Let's have a look at that sending off on his full debut, on his first game in a red shirt at Anfield. What went through Darwin Nunez's mind?
Well, we don't know. We saw Anderson pointing at him after the incident. I don't know what was going on. You could see him there, having a little knock at each other. And then once this goes in, he says something to him. And then, that's the reaction. And the thing with it is that I was surprised simply because Liverpool, that's not what they're about. They're not about reacting and doing it. So it's something he's going to have to learn quickly, because he obviously was very frustrated with the way it went. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that Anderson's gone down for nothing. Look, he's tried to do that there. That's what it was. You see, he's trying to put his head into him, and he's saying to him, hey. And so now he's pushed him, and I can't see where the actual heads hit the face, but at the same time, you can't react like that. And Liverpool kind of players reacting like that, and that's why they've not had players reacting like that, because it means so much to them to be able to stay on the pitch against a very well-organised Palace side that are very dangerous on the break.
Yeah, terrific point for Palace. Let's go back to Anfield. Eberechi Eze is waiting to speak live to us. Ebs, good to see you. Well done. Are you disappointed in some ways you didn't get all 3 points the way you played tonight?
Yeah, for sure. I think we've worked hard today. We could have nicked it in the end, but coming to a place like this, we've worked hard and give it our all, and coming away for a point is a good result.
Do you think the way it was set up, you knew you was going to have to do a lot of work? Was the chances? I thought Wilfred had a couple of good chances. Do you feel that you deserve to win the game with the chances you created?
I think it's difficult because they've obviously had chances as well, and they produce a lot of chances. But again, playing here and at the stadium, it's difficult. It's not easy to come and play your football. So to come in and get a point is big for us.
Eberechi, it's Michael Owen here. Congratulations, good performance by yourself and the team. Just talk me through the touch, the way you broke free and then laid on your teammate for the goal. Not a bad place to do it at Anfield.
Just sit here.
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, I just saw the space in between them and knew that Wolf would be getting him behind and playing him through. When he's in those types of areas, he's dangerous. So that's the mindset, just to create as much space for him and for myself, play him through, and it's a great finish from him.
Was you surprised that he dived in on you like that? Did you feel like that was quite easy for you?
Yeah, I don't know what he was expecting me to do, but I think me touching the ball, getting him in between both of them, it created so much space for me, so it made my decision quite easy.
I mean, it's a proper, you're feeling that, that's a proper butt. Not one of those ones where they both put their heads together, like I said before, which sometimes can happen and the referees butt them both. That's a proper butt to the underside of the nose, and I have to say that he'll learn a lot from that, because obviously not only he's not helped his team tonight as much as Liverpool played really well after obviously him getting sent off. Next week's a problem, and they'll miss him now for obviously
it's costly
games.
Because obviously without Roberto Firmino right now, we don't know when he's going to be back, and as Jurgen Klopp was saying before the game, he was the only option. That's why he had to play. But it seems even stranger, Jamie, when you look at this angle and you see how close the referee was to it all unfolding.
Well, I mean, this is an angle we've just found towards the end of the game, because I couldn't believe when I was watching the angle Gary showed when he throws his arms up. He's obviously remonstrating to the referee. So you just highlight the two players now who were involved. Oh, hang on, we'll get rid of that. So there's the two players, Nunez and Anderson, involved. You know, Anderson's not doing anything. He's just in a normal centre-back position. A little bump, nothing in that at all. We've seen the first headbutt, but just slow that down now. You look at the ball comes in. Watch the two players now. They're now looking at the referee. You just see him, the two. So look at Nunez now looking straight at the referee, Paul Tina. The arms are out. He's complaining, why aren't you looking at this? Why aren't I getting a foul? It's not a foul. Anderson's now looking at Nunez saying, hey, you've just put the head into me once. I mean, there's moments of madness, of course there is, but when the referee is looking straight at him now...
He's actually alerted the referee to it.
I know. I cannot believe how he thinks he's going to possibly get away with that. When he's remonstrating to the referee now, the referee's looking at the instant and he's just looking straight at it. I mean, there was no other option for the referee, obviously, but he could not have had a better view. I mean, it's literally half a second later when he's complaining. Look at the referee, the whistle's in his mouth. You go back. Anderson hasn't hit the floor. Look at the referee now. The whistle's in his mouth to blow now. Anderson has only just been touched. I mean, that shows you what a great view the referee had. I mean, you look at it now. He's already blew the whistle. He's gone down.
He's done it. It doesn't look like there's any provocation whatsoever.
We don't know.
But is there potentially a build-up of frustration? Is a young man trying to make a big impact on his first game at Liverpool?
I've done 2 or 3 things like this in my career. We don't know. We don't know why we react. We just have no idea. We go off and we think, what the hell did I just do? Honestly, I kicked a ball at a fan at Everton. I did the same against Steve McManaman in a game. I think you've done madness things as well. You know, you threw a coin back into the stand once and stuff like that. Honestly, you do things and basically you come off and think...
He couldn't accept the decision either, could he?
It was that red mist. It comes over you.
What that is at the end, that's almost like you're trying to argue, you haven't done nothing, you're trying to convince your own teammates, maybe the crowd, and as he's walking back to that bench, the realisation he knows what he's done and he'll be sitting in the dressing room absolutely devastated, and rightly so. We're talking about, you know, he's let himself down, but he's also let his team down there. He's talking about the points dropped as well. If he'd have been on the pitch, I'm sure Liverpool possibly would have gone on to win the game.
All right, let's get across to Anfield and speak to a manager who I'd imagine is pretty pleased with the point. Patrick Vieira, good to speak to you. First of all, on the outcome, Patrick, would you have taken a point before the game?
Yeah, of course. I think there's a lot of teams that, you know, when they come in to play Liverpool, they will be happy with the points. But today I have to say that we played quite a really good game collectively, and of course I'm pleased with the points tonight.
But is there a little bit of frustration, particularly after the incident we've just been talking about, Patrick, with Liverpool going down to 10, that there was the opportunity to actually get more from the game?
Yeah, but that was the incident of the game, and overall we keep our organisation, our discipline. It's really tough place to come and try to perform. We can be really pleased about ourselves because we created a couple of chances, some really good chances, And in a difficult period, we stick together. We defended quite really well, and again, it was a really good team performance. And I'm really happy with the team, the way they play today.
Patrick, the game plan was obviously to try and catch Liverpool on the counter-attack, and you did that brilliantly for the goal in the first half. Does your mindset change from the side of the pitch and maybe give different instructions once Liverpool go down to 10 men, or do you still feel actually we'll stick here with a point and try again to catch Liverpool on the counter-attack?
No, the plan was to keep our organisation. I was really pleased with the 5 at the back and the 4 midfielder and Wilfried up front. I think what we didn't do well is to keep the ball a little bit better and more patience. And the way they was pressing, it was really difficult for us. So I didn't want it to disrupt any kind of organisation. And I was expecting us to do a little bit better in a counter-attack.
Patrick, Wilfried Zaha scored the goal tonight, but it was a brilliant little bit of play before that from Eze. How pleased were you with his performance on that left-hand side?
Really, really pleased. Eze, I think, on that action, he showed his talent. People forget sometimes, he's been injured for quite a while last year, and he's getting to his best. What he needs now is to play games. And I think today he was a different class.
Patrick, we've obviously looked at the sending-off incident, and your centre-back Anderson was involved. Has he spoke to you after the game about maybe the reasons why? We were thinking, was there a tussle throughout the game? Was that a big battle? We didn't seem to see anything beforehand, so we're sort of a bit scratching our heads why Nunez has reacted like that. Has your defender said anything about the incident?
No, we didn't talk about it. I didn't have the chance to say it yet.
Well, I'm sure you'll acknowledge as well, as we were discussing, Patrick, players can do some interesting things sometimes when in the heat of the battle.
Yeah, I think, when the game's like that, there's a lot of frustration when things don't go in your way. But at the end, what was really important for us is to keep our organisation, our composure, and not allow them any kind of space. And I think our back 5 defended really well today.
2 games in, Patrick, it's been a tough start that the Premier League have handed you against Arsenal and Liverpool. How do you assess your team after those 2 games?
Well, when you look at the number of points, of course, playing against those 2 teams who are fighting to win the Premier League is always going to be challenging. But I'm more interested about the performances. And I think today we show character, we show personality, and we show a lot of discipline that will help us to win football matches. And of course, the game against Arsenal overall, especially in the second half, was a good performance. So I believe that we are on the right path. We have to keep working well, and there is talent. We have Michael Olise coming from injuries. We have players who can make difference, so we have to keep working like we did tonight.
We wish you well, Patrick. Congratulations tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Patrick Vieira on a hard-earned point for Crystal Palace at Anfield. They don't come around too often at Anfield. He was really pleased with the performance, the discipline. Did they score in some ways the perfect counter-attack goal?
They did, and what we've got to remember is the performance from Crystal Palace on the Friday night football I thought was brilliant, certainly in the second half, and we were talking a lot about them not having the perfect pre-season, so you'd expect maybe it really to be tough for them in the 2 games. Now, as he said, they've only got 1 point, but their actual performance against Arsenal, the performance here to get a point at Anfield, means it's a really good start without maybe having the points on the board. But I mean, I analysed this at half-time. Have you got anything different on it, Gary?
No, I mean, look, it would be easy. It would be easy for us to sit here and say, as ex-centre-backs, ex-defenders, just go with the run. Liverpool have not done that for 3 or 4 years, and there's no point.
What about that touch?
Yeah,
let's talk about the Palace perspective on it.
Eze's outstanding on this goal. I mean, to be fair, I have to say, Fabinho, he tries to bring him down. He actually has a whack at him. Watch this. There. He has a proper whack at him knee-high. He rides the challenge, and then obviously you want to release the pass. This is what Palace will have been working on. We highlighted it before the game. Eze and Zaha in that channel against Nat Phillips. The pass is fantastic. There's no point in us discussing Liverpool centre-back saying they should drop, they should go with the runner. They've never done that for 4 or 5 years. They're not going to start now. And generally, you're thinking to yourself, I said at half-time, Van Dijk is thinking that Zaha, if he goes across too quickly, we'll just watch this again from this point of view.
Is it also about the timing of the pass, Gary? Because Eze, as we know, is a ball carrier. He had a lot of space to run into, but he decides to take that option instead.
The timing of the pass, the timing of the run, and then here now, I'm thinking, as you said at half-time, Van Dijk comes across, but he thinks that Wilfried Zaha might then go inside him, and he trusts his goalkeeper. Alisson does not get beaten at all easily. So the finish from, that's Henry. That is a real top-class finish. It goes in off the post. Honestly, anything inside the post by a foot, and Alisson's saving that is that good. It has to be absolutely perfect to beat that goalkeeper.
I mean,
it's a brilliant goal.
I mean, you're talking about that pass from Eze, it's fantastic, but I'm convinced in the week, Patrick Vieira and his coaches, they're the patterns of play they must have been working on, phases of play about how to go up against Liverpool and how to get joy against them. There's no secret that, I mean, look at that. You've just mentioned Henry. Just bends it round the keeper, comes inside. But Liverpool give up that chance every single game against anybody. You know, someone will go through on Liverpool's goal every game. And they play like that because they're high up the pitch, they win the ball back and they back the goalkeeper. But that will have been work on the training ground. So Eze will have been, I'm sure, all week. When you're in this position, you don't run with the ball, you release it.
Was it right to stick with what they had when Liverpool went down to 10?
I think that was the only thing that, you know, I mean, you covered it with him. If Patrick Vieira's got one slight thing from this match, it will be they passed it really well in the second half against Arsenal last week for about 15-20 minutes. He wanted them to use the ball better and trust each other more when Liverpool were down to 10 men, and they still maintained that sort of, if you like, they went back, you know, towards the edge of the box. Look, it's tough. Liverpool's response to losing Nunez was absolutely brilliant, but he just would have wanted them to show a bit more belief.
What a brilliant goal, though. What a brilliant equaliser from Luis Diaz.
It was. I thought him and Harvey Elliott were the real standouts for Liverpool, really do. And I think I said before the game, this lad's been outstanding since he came in. He just hasn't got the numbers in terms of goals. And you think of who he's really replaced. We're talking about Nunez replacing Mane, but it's really Diaz on that left side who's come in. And constant running, he doesn't stop. When he loses the ball, he gets it back quickly. And this is just all about its ability, of course it is, but it's just pure energy, fight, desire. He doesn't really know where he's going. He's just coming across. And that strike is just absolutely fantastic. And if this lad can get the goals maybe that Mane did, we're looking at an absolute superstar in this Premier League. We really are.
I think it's really tough to score that goal when you're running away from goal. He's had to fetch it back round and then whip it into that far corner. You know, he's going.
Show you that.
Yeah, I mean, the ball's going sort of, if you like, behind him, and then to wrap his foot around it the way in which he has is absolutely brilliant. But he's just something, as a player, his energy in the game, his tracking back, his dispossessing of the opposition team is unbelievable, Diaz.
There's just something I noticed there when it went, sorry, just go through it again, is that I'm talking about he's almost running, but the actual ability in terms of close control, but he is in control because he's actually wants to get his shot off earlier. And a defender actually just gets in his way and he just goes again. So you just see when he comes in now, just seeing it on the last angle. Maybe just slow it down. So he's coming across, and I think even now he's thinking, I'm just going to get my head down, I'm going to try and get a shot away. See that there? And then this player just came across. I think just before that he's thinking, I'm going to pull the trigger. See the way the leg comes out? I think he's going to have a shot. See, and he just stops.
And does he actually, by virtue of that, get himself into a better position, more central?
He does. So even when he's going at real pace, he has that control, that composure. Not to pull the trigger too early, wait for that extra bit of space.
But is that how we'll judge him ultimately, Jamie, on numbers?
Of course. Yeah. That's how we judge all the top players. And he's looked a top player in general. Play looks fantastic. He's just been very unfortunate. You know, he hit the post last week at Fulham. But he's been sensational since he come in. But to be up there with sort of Salah, you know, you think of even Mane.
They've lost, Liverpool have lost Mane, and they've got Diaz and Nunez. And look, Mane's a guarantee. He was world class. What he achieved at Liverpool these last few years was out of this world. So they've got those players, they've got the talent, they've got the potential. They've now obviously got to go and do it.
Jurgen, a point apiece. Give us your thoughts on what you saw tonight.
Really good start in the game, exactly what we wanted. A lot of football, the kind of football we wanted to play. A lot of desire. We wanted to put it right. All these kind of things was all there. Unlucky in situations. Of course, the game plan for Palace was obviously defending deep and then going for counter-attacks. We gave him that. In the end, 2 opportunities, but the first one, proper one, when we should have won the ball. Obviously, protection was actually right. We were the 2v1 situation, Trent and Fab there, and then I think Essa still gets out there, or whoever it was, and that should not happen. And then it's difficult in the last line with the speed of Zaha. But second half again, started a positive start, and then getting the red card. I saw it now back. That's of course a red card. Even when it's provoked all the time, but that's not how he should do it. How he should behave. And but then 4 minutes later, I think, the equalizer, and then massive game from us against with 10 men, putting such an effort. The pitch stadium was there. Was honestly the real feeling I have in the moment is I'm proud, to be honest, because everything went during the week against us. It was crazy. It was like a witch was in the building. Everybody told me every time somebody else had problems, and then putting such a performance, especially with in the circumstances, I'm really proud of that.
We'll come on to the red card in a moment. You were so dominant, however, in the first half. What was your message to the players at half-time? Was it just more of the same?
Yes, but it was not the complete first half, at least as we saw it. It was like the first 35 minutes maybe, and then we started playing a little bit around. But that's actually when you play against a 5-4 and you play these passes into half spaces, so then that makes no sense. That there they have the better chance to win the ball. They only have to clear it, and we have to control it. So we needed again more direction, get in behind this line of five, and there we were really strong. And that's how then we could pick up second balls ourselves, and that's what was the message.
The red card for Nunez in the second half. How much in the end did he let his teammates down?
Look, he knows that now himself, and I will talk to him. It makes no sense when I talk now too much about it in public. You see it; it's absolutely not the reaction you want to see. The challenge in the centre halves, and Premier League will do that to him. They want to have him. He's a handful himself, and yeah, that's not a reaction.
Perhaps most importantly, how will you as manager manage him now going forward through this?
Yeah, there's no time. We get now another pre-season. I don't know exactly how long he will be suspended, but that's the situation, and so we will use it for physical work, not as a punishment, just to make him even stronger, and that's what we will try.
The way you got back into this game, perhaps it needed a special moment, such as the goal that Diaz scored, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Lewis played a super game, and then especially after the goal, he played for 3-4 players. It was unbelievable. He was nearly not to stop, and how I said, it was super intense game, and then with 10 men, you have to defend. Especially we didn't play the 4-4-1 if we want. Meant for him, Lujo defends the wing, where they try to cause us problems with the long balls there, and then picking up the other second balls. So incredible goal, and of course we needed that. Then we had, I think, from the edge, two nice opportunities, one with Fabio and one with Mo. A bit unlucky there, but in the end, it's a point that's not exactly what we wanted before the game, of course, but after this game, as all the things happened, we have to take it, and that's what we do.
On the plus side, what do you think of the contribution of Javier tonight?
Top game. I saw so many really good performances. It's a really tough game, and especially for a technical player like him, and constantly in these kind of tight spaces, freeing yourself and these kind of things, he did really well.
How much of a concern is 2 points from 2 matches, especially given the way you performed tonight?
It's not the start we wanted, but that's the moment actually my least of my problems, because well, I said we have our own situation. It's really tricky in the moment with injuries and players with little things, and how you manage them and all these kind of things. So we have to use the next week to maybe bring 1 or 2 back. I'm not sure if we can do that, but now we lost Darwin today. That doesn't help. But Bobby might be ready for next week again. So yeah. It's not a concern, it's just a start. In the end, if you have 2 points in August and it's in May, then it's difficult, but now in the moment it's fine.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
So perhaps Roberto Firmino back for Old Trafford next Monday. Do you think injuries were a big factor tonight?
Not really, in that it was still not far off Liverpool's best team. I think, you know, with the problems in the squads that you have now, Liverpool's best team is probably 9 of the players playing there. So I think you've always got to expect to be missing 1 or 2 players each time you play. But certainly missing Thiago is a huge loss for Liverpool. They can have no one who can really replace him. Where the injuries hurt Liverpool was that they couldn't really bring in a real attacking player off the bench, if you like, Firmino or Jota's or someone, you know, when you're needing a goal. So that was definitely a problem. They end up with Nat Phillips at centre-back, so they've had a lot of injuries in the one position. So the 3 centre-backs are out, aren't they? You know, so Kanate, Matip, Joe Gomez is not 100%. So the problem they've had is all in one position. And Nat Phillips, you know, found it tough at times tonight, but Liverpool still had a team on that pitch to beat Crystal Palace. And I think if Nunez stays on the pitch, they go on and win that game.
There are obvious positives to take from the evening, coming from a goal down with 10 men to get a point. But when they've looked at the fixtures at the start of this season, Fulham away, Crystal Palace at home, would they have expected 6 points?
Yeah, we would have expected 6 points because of just what they do, the way they played in the Community Shield. You just don't expect Liverpool to drop points, but like tonight, they've played pretty well, and obviously the man sent off harms them, even though it didn't harm them in terms of their performance, because the 10 men were absolutely outstanding. But they haven't taken the chances. They've had 24 shots on goal, not too many on target, but they've had a lot of moments. They've had a lot of touches in the box. Just something missing that in parts of the game, that final moment that they haven't had tonight. Like I say, this would not be any problem going back in the 30 years of the Premier League, which we've been doing a lot this weekend. You'd be relaxed here. The problem they've got is they've got an absolute machine at the top of the league who don't drop that many points during the season. That's what makes it more difficult for Liverpool.
He talked about having a witch in the building. Everything was going wrong in terms of injuries in the build-up to this game. Little problems for people. Now Darwin Nunez has added to that as well, missing for the next 3 games. He gave a little hint about how he would manage it. What would you expect him to do with that player who's so new to the league now?
I mean, what can he say? I mean, he can't go in all guns blazing. Be frustrated. He'll speak to that. But Darwin Nunez will know more than anyone that he's made a huge mistake. There's no debate. Everybody knows that. No one's going to have a different opinion on it. No Liverpool supporter can be having a go at Anderson. I know they were booing him in the stadium, but that's what happens now. That's what supporters do. But no, I mean, he'll speak to him. Of course he will. But he mentioned something about almost like another pre-season. So he's not going to be there. I'm not sure how the games fall, or if there's maybe a cup game in between, but almost trying to work with him, without games. So a lot of the time, you can't train properly because there's so many games, but, work with him, get him up to speed. I don't know. I mean, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare start for him as a player. It's a nightmare start for Klopp, because when he comes back, it's almost starting again to integrate him into that team. And it's the big problem. It's not tonight. Liverpool could still have maybe won that game. The problem is how long it's going to be now till he's back in the team. And you think he'll probably only go on the bench after those 3 games as well, trying to get up to speed. So it could be really 5 or 6 weeks before you really see him back in the Liverpool 11.
I think centre-backs now will target him as well and make sure they push him and poke him. I would do if I was playing against him in the next few weeks. But in terms of punishment, I think Jurgen Klopp will have a stern word with him, probably tomorrow or the day after. But the player who it hurts most when you get sent off is yourself. That is the loneliest place in the world. When you're in that dressing room on your own, you might have a kit man with you or something like that offering you a drink. It's horrible. You're in that dressing room with your teammates are out on the pitch. You're fearing for them because you're losing. You've let them down. You feel really badly that you've let them down. So you don't need to say too much to a player that's been sent off, because it's awful enough as it is for them, and they understand. They take responsibility. I'm sure he'll have gone round the dressing room after the game, even though he's a young player, and said sorry to them all. I'm pretty certain of that. And the rest of the lads in the dressing room, because they've got a good dressing room in Liverpool, will pick him up and say, look, it could be us next week. And that's the way it goes.
Another big moment, isn't it, at the start of this Premier League season? There seem to have been so many already, and it's the 31st Premier League season. And